Welcome back to another episode of the Ball Don't Lie podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Fraser, with my co-host, Cam Connolly. And as you can see, I've got a little bit of a new setup behind me. I haven't put anything up on the walls yet, but we're getting there slowly. But how are you doing, Cam?
Good. Normally, I lie and say that it was an exciting week in the NBA like last week, but this week was truly an eventful week. And yeah, I look forward to this week. I look forward to your new setup. A little better than my setup. I sit in my storage room slash my mother's office. So it's hey, whatever works.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get a studio eventually. Sponsor us, please.
Someone.
Um, but yeah, you're right. Like it was an exciting week, and we'll dive into our weekly recap here. We've got not like a ton of things to talk about, but there are some big headlines that we need to dive into, and so that'll take up a bunch of time. And one of those things is Giannis Antetokounmpo's trade rumors, and we'll get into that in another segment. Then we'll talk about some contenders and pretenders, and then we'll go to our weekly segments of MVP and LVP and our Canadian Hooper highlight to cap things off. So I guess before we get into the honest stuff, Chris Paul, we talked about him announcing his retirement last week, and then we talked about how he probably wants to retire a Clipper and he might be the greatest Clipper of all time, blah, blah, blah. And then they just sent him home.
When I was sitting on my phone procrastinating my finals, as it is final season, I got a couple final papers. And I just checked my phone and I see my buddy Steven, shout out Steven, forgot to shout him out last week when we talked about the Clippers. Text our group chat, he's like, Clippers are releasing Chris Paul. I was like, what? Like, no, they're not. Like, that's stupid. I'm like, where'd you see that? It's on Twitter. It's all over Twitter. Shams just reported it. I'm like, what? And then you go look into why they're releasing Chris Paul, and it doesn't make sense to me. He, to me, it looks like they're releasing him because he was holding the team accountable and he actually like cared about winning. He wanted people to like show up to meetings. He wanted people to pretty much have accountability, and they're kind of releasing him for that, it looks like.
Yeah, so they're letting him go because they didn't like how he was, I guess you're right, like holding guys accountable. I can't remember what the actual language was, but this team is 6-16. I think everyone expected them to be a lot better this season than they have been. Um, and like was I saw something he hadn't talked to Ty Lue in like 2 weeks or something like that.
It's just like a ridiculous amount of pettiness. Uh,
Hmm.
I like You're the head coach of an NBA basketball organization and you haven't talked to one of your players for 2 weeks. I coach high school, it's like senior boys and grade eight boys. I make it a point to talk to every kid, every practice, no matter how much they have upset me. Like you're making millions of dollars to do this. And yes, you could say, oh well, Chris Paul, I mean, he's a pretty opinionated guy. Like he's not been without his fair share of drama. Like I'm blanking on the one ref's name. What's the one ref?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I'm blanking on his name too.
He's had his fair share of disagreements, but like it it's just so unprofessional and it kind of reflects. I mean, I'm gonna get into this later, but
Hmm.
yes, Chris Paul hadn't been playing good, but he's only playing 10 minutes a game. You can't really pin that on him. And another thing that I saw today, James Harden, when they signed Chris Paul, apparently James Harden did not want them to sign Chris Paul. And then when they released Chris Paul, James Harden says, "Whoa, it was a shock to me." I don't know. Something smells a little fishy there, considering I don't think his tune would have changed that much. And we all know that James Harden isn't a guy who really likes accountability.
Yeah, 100%. I pulled up the actual tweet from Shams 2 days ago. He said, Chris Paul and his leadership style clashed with the Clippers, sources tell ESPN. Paul has been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable, which the team felt became disruptive. Specifically, Ty Lue was not on speaking terms with Paul for several weeks.
Like, I don't know. It just, I don't even have words. It's just so
No.
immature. It's so childish. Ty Lue, like, if it wasn't for LeBron James, would Ty Lue be a coach in the NBA right now? No, that's an honest question that I have.
Yeah, and I don't think he would, to be honest with you. Ty Lue hasn't really had any success anywhere else other than with the Cavs.
No, I hate on LeBron all the time, but let's be honest here. Ty Lue has any kind of legacy, any kind of pedigree because solely of LeBron James, right? I'm a delusional hater. Let me put my delusion aside for a second. LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time. To take a coach, like it kind of shows you the level of LeBron's greatness that he can play for a coach, carry an absolutely garbage team, and that coach can continue to have jobs after failing and failing and failing because he won a championship off the back of LeBron James.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, just kind of getting into holding the Clippers organization accountable. Like, they're an organization that needs to be held accountable. There was all the stuff with Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard that came out, like, what was it, a couple months ago now? Like, they're they've got a ton of issues, and I know you're going to dive into that a little bit later on, but like, I just can't imagine, like, even if you don't like his leadership style or whatever, he's the greatest player in your organization's history. How can you, a week or so after he announces he's retiring, how can you just cut him loose?
Yeah, and he might not have like the rings to show for it, but Chris Paul is a winner. He made the conference finals a lot of times. He made the finals a few times. Like when he was on Houston, they were a winning team. He was in the Clippers, they were a winning team. He kind of helped OKC build from the ground up. He left before they turned into anything real. But instead of cutting him, why don't you take notes from someone who knows how to win basketball games? It, I don't know.
He's definitely more of a winner than James Harden is. Like,
Oh yeah,
but yeah. Anyway, we can move into the Giannis trade rumors, but before that, Shams also reporting. I think it was earlier today or maybe yesterday that Giannis is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a right calf strain. So, I mean, what does that do to these trade rumors that were kind of swirling? And it seemed like something was fairly imminent, and then now he's sidelined for the next two to 4 weeks. Like, are we going to be waiting that long to see him get moved, or could this also just be, I don't want to play for the Bucks anymore. I'm taking 2 to 4 weeks off until you trade me.
it's funny when the reports of like the trade came out and how the report came out that Giannis requested a trade before the season started. I was kind of sitting there. I'm like, I never said this out loud, so you guys can call BS all you want. But I was like, imagine if Giannis gets hurt tonight. Like, how funny would that be? Like, not funny that he got hurt, but like just to the storyline, just like add an extra wrinkle to it. And then he takes a non-contact injury. It looked pretty scary. They're just saying it's a calf strain, so
Mm-hmm.
take it for what it is. I don't know. I'm not Giannis. It does look like he's exaggerating a little bit, but that's easy for me to say from the chair on the sidelines. What was your initial question? I forgot the actual question.
I mean, like, I guess now just how, like, do you see a move being made before or after he returns from his injury?
I think you have to move him before he comes back. It's almost like I said this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. How it feels like there's like a natural parting of ways. It's almost like the basketball gods are like forcing that natural parting of ways. He was playing his heart out for a bad team. It's not like he wasn't like giving effort or whatever. And the basketball gods take him away to kind of ease the blow when you actually trade him. And now you can trade him and move on before he comes back.
Yeah, and we'll kind of get into it a little bit, but I mean, we talked about this. What was it, 2 episodes ago? About buy or sell. This will be Giannis's last year with the Milwaukee Bucks. I can't remember what you said. I feel
I
like you
bought it.
said buy. Yeah. So it looks like it actually will be. But who are some ideal destinations for to land Giannis? Like, what teams out there do you think would be a good fit for him and for the team as well?
Yeah, well, I've said this before as well, but I think the Raptors are probably the most logical fit for Sir Giannis Antetokounmpo. Please come to Canada. But I think it just makes sense. I mean, he's not like a big market guy. He doesn't really care about all the media attention, or else he would be making like a bigger stink out of this. He could make himself a bigger figure if he really wanted to. He's already a huge figure. I think that coming to Canada, he's a European guy, so I don't think it would necessarily hurt the way that he lives life or anything. He's kind of used to not having all the American. They always complain about their food or their TV channels or whatever. He's not used to that, so he could come here and make sense. You pair him with a guy like Scotty Barnes. I mean, that defense would be unbelievable. But I've seen a team swirling around that people are throwing into the trade rumors, and it just makes absolutely no sense for me. And that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Why are people calling for Giannis to go to OKC? Yes, they have the assets to make that move happen, but they don't need Giannis. They're 21-1 at this current moment. Like it doesn't like I don't understand how people are even thinking about that as a conclusion of this.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see OKC being like really an ideal fit because all you're doing there is taking the ball out of Shea's hands and you're diminishing everyone else's roles as well. And like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Everything's
Exactly.
working really well in OKC right now. You don't need to bring in a guy like Giannis. But what about the San Antonio Spurs? That's an exciting one for me that I've kind of seen out there. Um, I just love the idea of Wemby and Giannis being paired up in the front court for a team. Like, I think that would just be ridiculous. But what do you think about that fit?
Honestly, I don't like that. I really don't. I was arguing with one of my friends. I'm not going to say his name. This is the same guy, by the way, who said that Steph Curry isn't a point guard. But I was arguing with one of my friends about this, and it just I don't know. I just feel like there wouldn't be any room for them to operate and like score. Like yes, Wemby can shoot, but he gets a lot of his stuff like in the paint inside the arc, and so does Giannis. Like Giannis can kind of shoot, but not really. He loves to get to the rim. So Wemby is a bit of a floor spacing big, but I think he's more of like a ball dominant above the free throw line extended kind of guy, and then he works his way down as the possession continues. And Giannis is a get downhill really fast, get to the rim and score.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. I don't love the fit. I don't think there'd be a lot of room for them on the court. And you're building something really good in San Antonio right now, and you're gonna have to pretty much drain everything that you've built to get Giannis. When I think that if you're patient, if you're San Antonio, you have a ring in your future in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like that point of they've built a lot there and they just need to be patient with it. But the two teams that we haven't talked about are the two that everybody seems to be talking about: the New York Knicks and the LA Lakers. What do you think about those two fits?
Uh, the Knicks, I do think that that is a good fit. I think I saw somewhere that Giannis wants to be a Knick, which
Yeah.
is a bit of a contrast to what I was saying earlier about the Raptors, who doesn't need to be a
Well,
star.
I've seen both that he's requested a trade to LA and he's requested a trade to New York.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about like New York and LA is they're going to be tied to every single major superstar because they're the two biggest markets in the NBA,
Mhm.
and the NBA sucks at marketing smaller market teams, hence why barely anyone talks about OKC on a regular basis. Like it's ridiculous, but that's a different topic. Anyway, I think that Giannis going to the Knicks makes absolute sense. The Knicks have a bit of more like what's the word assets to like give up. You could give Cat on the way back. You could probably get mix in like an OG or someone like that because Giannis is going to come fill that role anyway. So I don't think you would necessarily feel their loss. LA doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, to be honest. I think that to get a guy like Giannis, you're going to be depriving of your secondary star, or not secondary, but like your support on the floor. And it just, I don't see the fit necessarily. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. LeBron, Luca, and Giannis on paper, that's very scary. In practice, I don't know how well it would work.
Yeah, I agree. That's something that I was thinking about too. Just the fit between the three of them. Like I mentioned, like you're taking the ball out of Shea's hands if he goes to OKC. You're taking the ball out of Luca's hands, and then there'd be a weird dynamic for the number two guy between LeBron and um, Giannis, and I don't know if you could really trust LeBron to be willing to take on that number three role. You know?
Yeah, that and like I was saying about OKC, the Lakers are on an absolute like they're I hate to say it, they're playing really well. Why, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why? I mean, you can always get more stars with a guy like Giannis, but it, it doesn't make sense, a whole lot of sense to me. New
Yeah,
York,
I've
however, if they get Giannis, they are going to be one of my favorite teams, like in title contention.
oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean that can bring us into our next segment, contenders and pretenders. So I'll just go through the current top 6 teams in each conference, and you'll just tell me contender or pretender.
All right,
Okay, so we'll start in the West. Oklahoma City Thunder.
Juggernaut,
Yeah,
is that allowed? 21-1, ridiculous, and their one loss is to Portland, which is an obvious trap game for them. They didn't take them seriously. I was watching. Teams are starting to give them a bit more of a run for their money. Like they're starting to take them seriously. They don't want to break the. They don't want to let them break the wins record on their watch. I was watching the OKC and Golden State game, and just the shots that Shea started to hit down the stretch when he started to like try pretty much was ridiculous. He hit one pull up three that I literally just turned off my phone. I couldn't watch anymore. It was insane. So yeah, Juggernaut probably going to win the championship.
yeah. Number 2, the LA Lakers.
Pretender. I think that as I just said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like you don't have to bring in Giannis, but I think that they aren't a deep enough team, which kind of like adds on to that point. I don't think they're deep enough to make a playoff run, like especially compete with OKC. Okay, yeah, Luka can go up against Shea, but who's going up against J Dub? LeBron? LeBron's like what, 40 at 8 points last night. He's not the same guy anymore. Who's going up against Chet? DeAndre Ayton? I don't think so. I wish. I like DeAndre Ayton. I wish he could go up against Chet, but I don't think so. And then you keep going. Lou Dort. Uh, AJ Mitchell is all of a sudden came out of nowhere and he looks really good. I could say the entire team. Everyone on that team is nasty. Isaiah Hartenstein, I haven't even mentioned him. They're ridiculous. LA is a pretender. They're not going to be able to compete with OKC.
I wanted to say AJ Mitchell. He's so much fun to play with in 2K.
Yeah,
Elite three
I
point shooter.
I hate Ronnie 2K. I hate Mike Wang, so I don't play 2K. But whenever I do play 2K, if you use OKC, you're a bad person.
Oh no, I don't use OKC. I do the I trade for AJ Mitchell when I'm doing my rebuilds, and he's just
Oh,
an
okay.
electric shooter. Okay, we'll go Houston Rockets.
Contender. I think they're a contender. I think that as the season continues, they're going to get better. I think they could give OKC a run for their money. Like as I was just saying, the way that the match is up, uh, Houston does have a decent matchup. I mean, there's Şengün, KD. They're going to be good, and I think that they could potentially upset OKC. So contender,
Okay, San Antonio Spurs.
contender. Uh, Damn, the West has a lot of contenders. I didn't even realize this. Well, I did, but when I say it out loud, it sounds a little different. I mean, if you have Victor Wembanyama, I think you're a contender.
Mm-hmm.
De'Aaron Fox, a very good point guard. Dylan Harper, very good point guard. Steph Castle, very good. Devin Vassell, very good. They're just a very good team. They're a solid team. If Wemby's healthy, they're a contender.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was hoping you would say contender, just because they're one of my favorite teams in the league to watch. Obviously, because of Victor Wembanyama, but you're right. Stefan Castle is a lot of fun to watch. I loved him at University of Connecticut. Dylan Harper was fun last year at Rutgers, and now in his rookie season looks like a good player. So yeah, I was hoping you'd say contender there, and De'Aaron Fox. I loved De'Aaron Fox in college, and so I've been a big fan of his since he entered the league. Number 5, the Denver Nuggets.
I'm stuck between a middle ground with them because they just lack depth. But Nikola Jokic is so good at basketball, and Jamal Murray is playing so well right now. If Jamal Murray can continue to play like this, I think they're a contender. But as of right now, I haven't seen enough, so I'm going to say pretender.
Okay, I actually would agree with that. I think you're right. If Jamal Murray can continue to play the way he has been, they're for sure a contender. But yeah, without Jamal Murray, they're pretty thin. So I would agree. And last in the West, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I want to say contender because I love Anthony Edwards and I think he's the future, like the future face of the league. But they couldn't get past OKC like remotely closely. Like I think they lost in five last year.
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't make any real changes to their roster. So I'm gonna say pretender. They seem to do the same thing every year. They're a 5 or a 6 seed, and then they make it to the conference finals. Maybe they'll do that again this year. I'm not doubting the fact they can make the Western Conference Finals. I just see them as a pretender because they can. I just don't. I don't see a world where they can get past OKC.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Okay, let's kick things off in the East. The Detroit Pistons.
Ah, I might get hate for this, but I'm gonna say pretender. I just a lot every time I bring up experience, people in the comments start going, "Oh, experience is a made up thing. OKC didn't have experience. OKC is a juggernaut." Okay, let's not forget that Detroit Pistons were a terrible basketball team for like 5 years. Those guys know how to lose basketball games. They Cade is becoming a top 10 player in the league, but he just hasn't. I think they lack experience, and this is going to be a common theme in the East. I think they lack experience, and hate on me all you want in the comments. You call me a podcaster. Oh, bro, let's start a podcast. It's the truth. I think that they don't have enough experience. I think that when push comes to shove, they're going to lose. Like, maybe it'll be in 7, and it'll be a great experience for next year, where I think they're going to be a contender.
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of have them as a pretender right now. I just don't think that you're right. Like they don't have the experience. We what clip was it? It was the Raptors clip on that we posted on our social channels, and we got a lot of hate for saying that they didn't have the experience. We also had a lot of people agree with us. So I don't know. I feel like it's a 50-50. A lot of people think experience matters. A lot of people don't. But
Yeah,
we did get
experience
one
matters.
comment. Oh,
Experience matters,
I
and that's just
agree.
the truth. You want to
Yeah.
say it doesn't matter all you want because of OKC. OKC is not OKC is an exception to the rules.
It's also like a playoff run is such a grind that
Oh,
like you need the experience to go through that grind. It's like you have to be in a different mentality than just the regular season where you can kind of coast a game or two. Like you can't take a game off in the playoffs. And
yeah, and like to other people who are still hating on me for some reason, I've played in 7 game series. I played in what, 6 best of 7s in my career. I played hockey. I went 7 games. The experience matters. Like it is an absolute grind. The highs and the lows of a playoff series are not to be matched with anyone. You lose 2 games in a row. It can get dark quick. You need veterans on the team that know what it's like, that know how to get the team back on track.
yeah, 100%. Okay, let's go New York Knicks.
Contender.
Yeah.
If they get Giannis, super contender. Right now, I think they're a contender. I think they can make the finals. I think they should have made the finals last year. They ran into the Haliban, Tyrese Halliburton, which, I mean, we all know how that happened. But yeah, I see them as a contender. I think they're the best team in the East right now. And I think if they get Giannis, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before. I think they're a pretender.
Yeah.
Similar reasons of Detroit. I think they're still slightly worse than Detroit. If they get Giannis, this narrative could change a little bit. They might still be a pretender. I don't know. They're probably moving to the contender slot, I think, if they get Giannis. But Scotty Barnes is really good. Brandon Ingram's playing really well, but I don't know how much his game will translate to the playoffs. We haven't really seen him in the playoffs. And yeah, unfortunately, I think they're a pretender, but I do hope I'm wrong.
Has BI never been to the playoffs? I feel like he has for sure.
I don't know, to be honest. I just off the top of my head I couldn't recall anything.
He's been to the playoffs twice, played a total of 10 games with the Pelicans in playoffs.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean he averaged his usual stat line, but what were his splits?
his splits were all right, at least the first year that they went 47.5% from the field, 40% from three. But
Yeah,
then they got swept the next year and his numbers were terrible. So he does
yeah,
have a little taste. But yeah, it's not like I don't really consider that heavy playoff experience in any way.
no.
The Miami Heat.
I think they're a pretender. They need a star. Maybe Giannis. I don't know. I keep throwing Giannis's name into every single combo, but uh, I think they're a pretender. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs, to be honest. I could see them falling off a cliff and falling off a cliff hard.
Interesting. All right. The Boston Celtics.
Uh, if in a world where Jason Tatum's healthy, I think they're a contender. I don't
Mhm.
think Jason Tatum's going to play basketball this year, so I just see them as a pretender. I don't think Jaylen Brown is a 1A kind of guy. He could be a 1B, as we've like he's proven he could be a 1B. Derek White is playing really well right now, but I don't think they're a good enough team without Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm actually surprised that they are in the 5 seed in the East right now. I did not expect them to be that good without Jason Tatum. So, yeah, I don't have them as a contender either. And finally, we'll wrap things up with the Orlando Magic.
Uh, Honestly, and this is pretty much going back on everything I've said, I think they're a contender. I think I mean, they had a bit of a playoff run last year. They've been to the playoffs now with the same group. Paulo is very good. He already has the experience being the guy on a playoff team. Franz Wagner is very good at basketball. I think they're a contender, and I think they could go on not full contender. I don't think they can be OKC, but that's not in the question. Come out of the East, I definitely think it's possible. I could see them going on a Timberwolves type run without running into OKC. So yeah, I'm gonna go contender.
Okay, I like that. I personally, I don't have them as a contender, but they are on the brink for me. Like they're right up there, pretty close. So yeah, we can move over to our MVP and LVP this week. I'll kick things off with my MVP. I've got Jalen Johnson, 35 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, 7 assists per game, and 50% from the field and from three. Just a great week from Jalen Johnson. I think, did you give him your LVP a couple weeks ago? Or did
Yeah,
I? One of us did.
I think it was me. I think
Yeah.
yeah, it was me. It was me 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, he bounces right back from 2 weeks ago, and he had a great week. He did turn the ball over a fair bit, but I mean, you can't ignore the 35 points per game. That's way more than I'd expect from Jalen Johnson. He's obviously good rim runner. Like I'm also surprised by the 3 point shooting. I didn't realize Jalen Johnson was that good of a 3 point shooter, and maybe it's just been a great week for him. But I kind of had him more as a like high flyer kind of guy, you know?
Yeah. Well, back-to-back weeks of LVPs turning into MVPs. Last week was
Yeah.
Josh Hart. This week was Jalen Johnson. And yeah, I'm actually really surprised to see he shot 50% from three. He's like I feel like he's a known non-threat from three, but
Yeah, I'm just pulling up
maybe
his career
he
splits. This year he's shooting 40% from three, and in the past it's been 35 and below in the
yeah.
rest of his
So
career.
if he adds that element to his game, like consistently, he consistently is around 40% every like game.
Hmm.
Uh, Watch out. There's some building in Atlanta finally, I think. I mean, we didn't really talk about it, but there are like the rumors about Trey Young
Hmm.
maybe being on his way out in Atlanta, but I think it could be for the best when you have guys like Johnson and Dyson Daniels playing the way they are.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know if you saw this just quickly on that Trey Young trade rumor. Someone said Trey Young, LaMelo Ball, and John Morant, those three have negative trade value. And
I saw
so,
that.
yeah, and so it'd be a swap between the two of them. I don't really understand that. I don't think you put Trey Young in that same category as Ja and LaMelo just because I feel like it's more of an off court issue with Jaw, obviously, and then Lamelo, it's kind of an attitude issue, maybe for the reasoning behind the negative trade value. And I don't think you can really count Trey Young into that category.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really put any thought into it, but imagine LaMelo Ball on the Atlanta Hawks. I think that might be a great fit for him.
Yeah, I think it would be actually, but I think that I would rather have Trey Young. Well, that's hard because yeah, you're right. I haven't put a ton of thought about it. Would I rather have LaMelo Ball or Trey Young if I'm starting a franchise for one season? Let's say.
I mean, I'm a known LaMelo Ball fan, but I think I
Yeah,
would rather have LaMelo Ball.
yeah.
He
I think you're right.
because if you get a healthy season of LaMelo Ball, that is like that's gonna be an All-Star worthy season. A healthy season of Trae Young isn't guaranteed All-Star. A healthy season of LaMelo is guaranteed All-Star.
Yeah, and I feel like you can build around LaMelo, whereas you can't build around Trae Young. He's kind of a complementary piece to someone else you're building around.
Yeah,
So yeah. Anyway, let's get into your MVP this week.
yeah, and I don't know. I'm kind of anti me this week, but my my MVP this week is Austin Reeves, and it sucks to say out loud. I hate the Lakers, but 31 points per game, 7 assists per game, 58% from the field, 48% from three. Can't give him all the credit in the world. He did average 5 turnovers a game, so if the Lakers want to go on a serious run, they're gonna have to clean that up. But this guy just he won't go away. When you think of Austin Reeves, I feel like you think of like a guy that will occasionally give you 40 and then have like 15 or 16 like every other night.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep waiting for that to happen, but he keeps on putting up 30 plus every single night. Go away, man. Go away. Please go away.
Well, you gave him your MVP a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago now, when he was averaging 40 points that one week.
Yeah, I don't know. I want him to go away. He's haunting me.
Yeah. Who's your LVP this week?
Yeah, so honestly, this week there was not a whole lot of players who like kind of had a bad week. But there was one organization that had a terrible week, and we already touched on them. The Los Angeles Clippers, figure it out. You're ruining basketball. OKC has your pick. You're in like almost dead last in the freaking NBA, man. Like you cut Chris Paul, an absolute legend. You guys suck. You could have just sat on your bench. You could have gave him the farewell tour. You could have helped him put like a bow on his career that he didn't have a ring for. At least he got to play at home, and kind of we all as fans got to see the closure of him retiring in a Clippers jersey. But no, you screw over his career. You screw over Kawhi Leonard. What are you doing? There's this tampering stuff with Steve Ballmer, whatever. Donald Sterling is your former owner. You guys suck. You guys have a cool arena, though. Yay, we have a cool arena. So we're a great organization. Ty Lue is your coach. Ty Lue is the worst coach in the NBA besides Doc Rivers. I don't care what anyone says. Los Angeles Clippers, except for James Harden. James Harden, you are balling and you are trying to save the NBA. Everyone else, you suck. This is brutal. I don't want to watch this anymore. Figure it out before you ruin basketball and you give OKC, AJ Advance to Cooper, or not Cooper Flag, AJ Advance to Darren Peterson or Cam Boozer.
Yeah, I mean I agree. They're a terrible organization. Like it's pretty bleak there in Los Angeles, and they just continue to fumble everything. Like they make that huge trade for Paul George and lose Shea. Like they're just a poverty franchise, man.
And oh man, like I still cannot fathom this. You ruined an NBA legend's last season. Like, why? Like, why would you do that? Oh, because he liked to hold accountable. You guys need accountability. You're bending the rules. You stole Kawhi from the Raptors because he wanted to go home. No, because you gave him 25 million under the table. Honestly, I think Steve Ballmer is a great owner, but he might be too all in to the point where he's screwing themselves over. He's screwing the league over. Like, oh man, this it just sucks. Like this sucks. OKC. I'm not even an OKC hater, but Sam Presti is just 18 steps ahead of everyone,
Yeah.
and he just takes advantage of the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are that one team in your fantasy league that you just send a trade offer to because you just want to see maybe they'll accept it because they're so dumb. That's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I'll get into my MVP or LVP after that. I've got Draymond Green. I've got an actual player this week. It's just a poor week from Draymond. I thought 6 points per game. He had the 7 rebounds, but that's kind of his job. I understand like he's not a scorer, but only 2.7 assists. He's kind of supposed to be a secondary playmaker in that offense, and then the shooting splits are just horrible. 26 percent from the field and 22% from three. Obviously, he's not a 3 point shooter, but why are you shooting at all if you're only going to hit 22%? And then that field goal percentage is just awful. Just not a good week from Draymond.
Yeah, and he should have stepped it up without Steph and Jimmy playing, but he didn't. So Draymond, buddy, like need you. We need to make the playoffs, and you're putting up 6-7. Come
Oh
on,
yeah, I
man.
didn't even realize that. Um, all right, let's get into our final segment here, our Canadian Hooper highlight. This week, we've got Dylan Brooks. Obviously, love him when he wears the Team Canada jersey. He's such a dog in international play. But this week, with the Phoenix Suns, 30 points per game, 2 assists per game, 2.5 rebounds, 1 steal, and 57% field goal percentage. I mean, he's just such a tenacious player. Everybody, you hate playing against him, but when he's on your team like he is for us with Team Canada, we absolutely love him.
Yeah. And if I was American, I would absolutely hate him. But since I'm Canadian, I absolutely love him unless he's in a series against the Raptors or the Warriors. I haven't been against the Raptors, but he's been against the Warriors. I hate him for those 2 weeks. Every other time, he's unbelievable. He shoots such a high clip from three. I remember
Mm-hmm.
during the FIBA World Cup, he shot like 50% from three or something. That was kind of when he like came to his own and started to be the Dylan Brooks that everyone knows. I feel like that was kind of his coming out party. And yeah, 30 points per game on a Suns team that wasn't supposed to be very good this year, but they're kind of surprising a lot of teams. They lost KD, they got Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green. Jalen Green's been injured for a while. He might be back. I don't think he is though, but that's beside the point. Dylan Brooks is playing well. He's a proud Canadian. He always puts the Team Canada jersey on. I'll always respect him for that. I love watching his highlights. He's an absolute pest. And yeah, Dylan Brooks, I love you.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Canadian basketball a lot, and he's just like he's kind of the perfect player to have on your team. He does all the little things. He plays with such a tenacity that like not a lot of guys in the NBA do play with. And he is that guy, and he can kind of take on any role. If you need him to score, he can score. If you just want to be your shutdown defender, he does that. Like gets in the other opponent's head, gets under their skin. He's honestly like a coach's dream.
He fears no man. I think he might have said that exact quote when talking about LeBron James, where he says that like LeBron doesn't like people who don't bow down and I don't bow down, something along those lines. And hey, he's a coach's dream. If I had a player like Dylan Brooks on my team, I would love that because he doesn't. I mean, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but he doesn't look like he's complaining ever. He just does the things that need to be done and keeps doesn't necessarily keeps his head down in that sense. He's a pretty loud, brash personality outside of it, which makes it more fun. And I think he's an underappreciated, overhated player in the NBA.
Yeah, 100%. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to get to?
No, I think that's about it. We can wrap it up there. It was,
Okay.
hopefully, these fun storylines keep rolling in because I feel like this was a fun episode.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, and be sure to check out some of our other shows on the Horizon Media YouTube channel. Check out our socials as well. Remember to like and subscribe, and yeah, thank you for listening to Ball Don't Lie.